Today we'll discuss three important amendments to Indian Constitution: 10th, 11th, and 12th. Under this, we'll discuss why these amendments were introduced, what changes they brought in, and how they shaped India's governance and territory. So let's address the first question, that is, what was the purpose of these amendments? So 10th and 12th amendments were introduced into the Constitution of India for the integration of newly liberated territories into Indian Union. Like 10th amendment was introduced to integrate Dadra and Nagar Haveli into Indian Union, and 12th amendment was introduced to integrate Goa, Daman and Diu into Indian Union. Whereas 11th amendment was introduced to simplify the process of election for the post of Vice President. So 10th and 12th concerned with the integration of territories, and 11th amendment was concerned with the simplification of the process of election for the post of Vice President. Now let's talk about what were the key provisions of these amendments. The first amendment we have is 10th amendment. So as I've told you, the reason for this amendment was to integrate Dadra and Nagar Haveli into Indian Union. So before 1954, Portuguese had controlled this territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. But due to local movements and government support, people were able to liberate this territory from Portuguese. And now this territory had become a part of Indian Union. But it was not formally integrated into Indian Union, because for that purpose we need an amendment. And to formally integrate Dadra and Nagar Haveli into Indian Union, the government brought in the 10th amendment. And this amendment had formally added Dadra and Nagar Haveli as a union territory in the first schedule of the Constitution. And now Dadra and Nagar Haveli is formally the part of Indian Union. Now let's talk about the 11th amendment. So the reason for this amendment was, as I've told you, to simplify the process of election for the post of Vice President. So before this amendment, there was this provision that to elect the Vice President, we need the joint sitting of both the houses of the Parliament, which is believed to be daunting and unnecessary. So the government tried to simplify the process, and they said that now there will be no provision of joint sitting. Rather, MPs would vote in their respective houses. So it was the 11th amendment which simplified the process of election of Vice President. The next amendment we have is the 12th amendment. And this amendment, as I've told you, was brought in to integrate Goa, Daman and Diu into Indian Union formally. Like Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Portuguese had also controlled the territories of Goa, Daman and Diu. So there was this movement, the Goa Liberation Movement, which liberated Goa, Daman and Diu from Portuguese. And now Goa, Daman and Diu were part of Indian Union. But to formally integrate these territories into Indian Union, we need an amendment. And for this purpose, 12th amendment was brought in. So 12th amendment was brought in to add Goa, Daman and Diu as a union territory in the first schedule of the Indian Constitution. Now let's address the last question, that is, what was the impact of these amendments? So the first important impact was territorial integration. With these amendments, we strengthened India's sovereignty by formally integrated Dadra, Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman and Diu into Indian Union. And we also demonstrated India's commitment to consolidating territories under one administration. With these amendments, we also brought in administrative efficiency by simplifying the process of election for the post of Vice President. These amendments have also strengthened the governance of India by ensuring that there is uniform application of Indian laws throughout the territory of India. With this, we have completed 10th, 11th and 12th amendments to the Indian Constitution.